media mind manipulation in movies, news, and music, raves, sexual power and pleasure, peer pressure. When it comes to illegal drug use among our nation's youth, there's a never-ending assault of temptations levied upon them from every conceivable direction, even some of it coming from their own homes, from parents and siblings. Just saying no is about as realistic an approach to preventing drug use as a piece of paper is in stopping a bullet.
So I'm in the Latino Youth Council, and our mission statement is to change the perception that drugs and alcohol are good. And in order to do that, we do different projects, like, for example, the Billboard Mapping Project, or we do Shoulder Tap in order to educate our peers in our community about the dangers of drugs and alcohol.
CADFY, Californians for Drug-Free Youth, a nonprofit organization effectively creating networks of resources that support collaboration in building safe and healthy communities across California and around the nation. CADFY's initiatives have broadened into a collaborative effort across various public and private sectors of the community. CADFY utilizes strategies incorporating programs such as their Youth to Youth conferences, now occurring in 35 different communities throughout California, and the first statewide Red Ribbon Week campaign, which has been embraced nationally as a time when schools and communities raise awareness about the prevention of substance abuse. Next year, in an epic assault on the use of drugs among our children, CADFY and Foundation for a Drug-Free World are partnering to train 85,000 youth and parents in Baja California. CADFY is on a grassroots mission. While law enforcement is working on reducing the supply, CADFY is focused on reducing the demand for drugs among America's youth.
CADFY was created out of a parent movement back in the early 80s. In 1979, the United States was really under pressure with it was at its highest drug use rate. We had 40 million people currently using drugs, and parents wanted to change that. So a parent movement started in the early 80s. There were parent organizations and parent coalitions that were created in states all across the nation, and CADFY was one of those. It was founded in the early 80s. It was incorporated in 1983 as an organization to bring parents together to push back on the substance abuse that was occurring in our communities. When you increase the availability of a drug, you increase its use in the youth. When you decrease the perception of harm or risk in a drug, you increase its use. And with some of the problems that we have in California, particularly with marijuana, we have a proliferation of marijuana shops that are popping up all across California. Los Angeles alone last year, they had over 1,000. There were more marijuana shops in Los Angeles than Starbucks. And when kids see that, it becomes very confusing to them. How can kids say no when the adults around them are saying yes?
So the California National Guard has partnered with CADFY to create Forces United. Forces United is a force multiplier, bringing together the military, law enforcement, schools, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations to prevent drug abuse and to try to change the community norm. So it's not normal for kids to take drugs, so that kids don't travel down that dark path of drug abuse.
Most people will agree that the front lines in the battle to protect our kids is in our homes and begins with the parents and caregivers of our young people. It's the moms and dads, grandparents, aunts and uncles that play a vital role in influencing our children's attitudes and behaviors. Kids know a lot more about drugs than most adults realize. Some of their information is accurate, but a lot isn't. Young children need to know the difference between legal drugs used for medical purposes and those that someone hands you to try to feel different. They need to learn about making good choices that help them stay healthy and safe. It's us, moms and dads, that serve as the role models on the use of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and control the availability of these things in the home, and help set our children's expectations concerning illicit behaviors. A recent study shows that children whose parents are involved in their lives, hold regular conversations, attend after-school events, and listen to their problems, are less likely to use and abuse drugs.
Youth organizations and youth leadership organizations in the prevention field have a critical role that they play. They have for years, the 70s, 80s, 90s, to where we are today. The generation of young people being deployed to address social issues and causes that they're concerned with, it's just incredible in regards to community engagement, civic engagement, and those kinds of prospects in a community. In drug prevention, without the voice of young people, you don't hit the market. Young people have to be engaged so that they're part of that voice, part of that instrument of dialogue, part of that leadership within a community so that they can too be affirmed that their direction is positive and appropriate.
What I would like to say to others who are concerned about this issue is to get involved, because if you get involved, it opens a whole bunch of doors to actually not only help yourself, but help others. Because when you get involved, you do different projects, you meet new people, and you definitely get a different perspective of what many others probably don't know.
To learn more about Californians for a Drug-Free Youth, visit their website at www.cadfy.org.